Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out today's broadcast. It is day 331 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. If this is your first time checking out one of my broadcasts, a little bit about me. My name's Jonathan. I'm 39 years old. I've been married for a while, I guess, at least a decade, to my beautiful wife, Carrie, who hopefully, or she might not be joining stream today because she's got some other things to do. But we have 4 children together, and I have been overweight my whole life. And last year, I mean, really, it's for a while, it's gotten to a point where it was unmanageable, but I got pretty heavy over the course of 2019, really. And then 2020, I spent pretty much the whole year over 500 pounds until I decided to start this challenge. A little bit about the challenge. There's 2 main aspects of the challenge. The first is that I need to stick with it for 3 years. I've done lots of diets in the past. I've had success with diets, but I always end up not sticking to it long enough, or sticking to it until it becomes habit. And sometimes, I get to my goal and I start to let things slip, and then, it kind of ends up going back to the way I was eating. And so I decided that I need to really focus on the time commitment, not just the weight. And, hopefully within the 3-year period, I'm able to get down and lose my goal, and then also maintain it for a while. The other part of this challenge is to lose 300 pounds. I started at 519.8 pounds. If I lose 300 pounds for my height, I get down to out of the obese category and in the overweight category if I get under 220 pounds. And so that is a huge goal for me. A lot of times in the past, when I've set weight goals, it has been to lose 50 pounds or to get under 300 pounds. But a lot of times when I would get to that goal, I would still end up being really overweight, and it would be hard. I'd feel great and I'd hit my goal and everybody would be giving me compliments, but kind of in the back of my head, I was still kind of like, I'm still pretty kind of overweight, and so really getting down under 225. But when I get to my goal, that'll be the lightest I've been since I was like 16 years old. So like 20 years ago. So far I've had really good success. I started off with a very long extended water fast. I water fasted for 42 days. It was 1,000 hours of nothing but water and some electrolyte supplements here and there, but mostly water fasting. In that time, I lost 90 pounds. After that, I switched to a whole food plant-based diet with no added salt, oil, or sugar. We've been eating that diet since December 12th. Carrie's been eating it longer, since the beginning of December, but decent. Until recently, we haven't had any salt, oil, sugar in our diet. I have added kind of a 1 meal a week where I'm going to allow myself to eat some different foods, kind of try some different things. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check out my video, Foz Feast #1, I do have that link down in the description below. I went to a local vegan restaurant and I got a torta and biscuits and gravy, and they were both good. If you want to check out my review on those, you can check out that video. Since Friday, I guess, we had a decently busy weekend. We did have in-laws in town visiting from out of town, which is kind of nice because they helped with watching the kids. Saturday, while I was doing my feast, we were actually having a garage sale here for our nonprofit. So we spent most of the day dealing with that, or Carrie spent a lot of the day dealing with that. When we finally did end up going home after, I had a ton of energy, and it's probably because I ate a really large breakfast, but I also kind of felt like since I ate a really large breakfast, I kind of needed to do something a bit active. And it would have been easy to come home and do yard work because I had plenty of yard work to do, but it was really Friday was the first day that I was technically, or first day I was allowed to go without a brace. And so Saturday was the first time I really had like a free time or an opportunity to do any type of activity without a brace on. And I didn't want to spend my evening doing yard work. So I ended up going home and trying to recruit my family to go on a walk, which didn't go great. Carrie was tired from the sale. She had been doing a lot of standing for the last week, getting everything set up. So I wasn't really worried about that, but I did try to get the kids to go for a walk with me without very much success. I did get a couple of my kids to go, but there is a park near us, a couple miles away. We have to kind of cross the river to get to it, but it is a really nice park that has a combination of hiking and bike paths that we've gone to for like my son's Cub Scout things, but I hadn't gone there and walked kind of myself at all. Carrie had gone for a walk a while ago with the kids and got herself lost there, which is pretty easy to do. It's not very clear on how you get in and out, and they have a large section of the trails that are one way that alternates each day. So you kind of get to a point where, you've been walking on this one way path for so long and you're like, well, am I lost? Should I turn around and go back? But, and it is a big loop. So, you get to a point where turning around and going back is going to make you walk further than going forward. But we ended up getting around no problem through the park. I did end up taking a photo here just because there's a nice scenic overlook. This is of the Mississippi River. You can't really see it in the photo very well. I don't know if I do that, you might, but there is a large lock and dam system right there. So it's kind of cool that you can see from there. I was trying to get a photo of my kids and my one daughter wouldn't turn around because the view was too beautiful, which is fine. But I snapped that photo while we went for our walk. I thought I'd share that with you guys. I ended up doing, I should have connected my watch to my phone before this so I would have all the stats right in front of me. But the total distance for our walk, because I ended up splitting it into two different tracks on my Garmin, but it was just over 2 miles. It was maybe 2.25 miles for the total hike. Took us an hour and some change to do. But that was also because I had two girls that are 4, almost 5, that I was trying to get to go walk with me here. And that was the wrong. And so they were kind of, I was maybe 20 yards into the woods before they started complaining that their legs and knees were hurting. And so I knew it was a huge uphill battle to get them to do the whole 2-mile track. And that was my goal, was to get them to do the whole 2-mile loop and make it all the way through. And it ended up being a little bit longer because like I said, the trails are a little confusing. And now that I know how they're set up, I won't have as much of a problem, at least with that half of the trail system. There's like a trail system on the north and a trail system on the south. And the one trail system I kind of got figured out, not great. There were some bicyclists that were riding, so the kids kind of got to see them, and it was cool kind of seeing them fly through the woods. They overall, though, they did great on, well, I'm lying. Overall, they sucked on the walk. But hopefully it gets better if we do it more often or go on more walks. I ended up, it was because I was tracking the walk on my watch. I knew how far we had kind of gone and how far it was supposed to be. And so I was able to get about halfway, or we got over a mile in before I had to start pulling out the bribery to get them to kind of finish. And the bribery ended up that I had to bribe them that I was gonna go to McDonald's and get their little freezy sugar things like the blue and the cherries, the cherry and the raspberry ices. I've talked about that in the past. That they're probably awful for the kids. They're chocked full of sugar, but at McDonald's there's not much else I'm gonna get that is free of dairy products or free of animal products, and it worked out well. I mean, it was the I kind of gave him a hard time. I was like, hey, if you guys, we're gonna go to McDonald's, but if you complain, we won't go. So the complaining stopped, but my one child decided that every 10 feet she was going to trip and fall to the ground. I think that it was a ploy to get me to pick her up and carry her, which didn't work till the very end when she actually fell on a tree root and fell pretty hard. Then I carried her for about 10 feet and then I made her walk, because that is probably, with all of what's going on with my arm, with having to have my distal bicep repaired, the most frustrating thing is that I can't just go and grab one of my twin daughters and just pick them up, because they're not real big. They're just little girls, but I can still pick them up, and my one daughter ends up being a little bit bigger than my other daughter, and I can kind of lift them up with one hand, but I can't like play with them. I can't kind of, like I said, pick them up like I normally do. And I ended up having to carry my one daughter for a little bit, but I ended up putting her down just because I wasn't able to like switch from arm to arm to give me any relief. And we were pretty close to the end of the walk anyways. So we ended up finishing up the walk. Like I said, it was just over 2 miles. Took us, I think, an hour and 20 minutes to do the total amount of walking that we did. And they survived it, and hopefully they'll go on a walk with me again. We'll see. But it was kind of cool, and they got to see some neat things at that park. So we did that on Saturday. That kind of took me right to dark, and then kind of finished up at home. We had in-laws and kind of hung out with them for the evening. Sunday, I ended up having to do a lot of yard work. It's been a while since I've been able to do anything, but I've used having my arm in the brace, I guess, from really doing much yard work. I got some grass cutting done that needed to be done, and then we had quite a few trees that had been getting overgrown that I spent a couple hours just cutting down branches and dragging them over and burning them. And in fact, I ended up let me see if I can pull that up. Ended up taking a couple photos of, I have this huge log that I had been waiting to burn forever. And so I thought we got it started on Saturday. It pretty much burned all through Saturday, and then it's probably still burning right now. And I'm lying. We put this out on Sunday. We started burning it on Sunday, not Saturday. This was Sunday evening. The whole log is like on fire. It was really cool. That's why I took a photo of it there. And then I also took a photo of that on Sunday evening, just because I thought it was a cool kind of, it looked way different than the photo came out though. This is like a long exposure photo, like 3-second long exposure photo that I took. But that was actually Sunday evening that we had that stuff. And it was really a nice weekend. It was nice to be outside a lot throughout the weekend, from Saturday evening doing that hike, and then Sunday being outside doing the yard work. Really nice to get outside and do that, because the weather was nice enough to do it. And like I said, since I've had my surgery, I've kind of avoided doing those things, or I haven't been allowed to do those things. So I wanted to get out and do them. And I overdid it on Sunday with the tree trimming. I really was trying not to use my bicep as much as possible, but I'm still using my whole arm, and I was dragging branches through the grass, and it was like I said, I was trying to avoid doing it too much work, but at the same time, one of my goals on the walk and why I took our dog with us is because I knew that she would pull on the leash a lot on the walk, or it would be a little bit of effort to keep her reined in. And I've lost a lot of strength in my left arm, and I'm not allowed to do any lifting, and I'm not allowed to, to do much. But I figure if I'm pulling on the dog leash, or if I'm, doing that kind of stuff, it can't be that bad. While during the hike, I had a water bottle for the girls. It was like one of those metal water bottles that holds maybe 26 ounces of water. And I was doing curls with my arm as I was walking, just to kind of do something with the muscle to activate that muscle, because it is annoying that it is so weak. And I'm not looking to become a super bodybuilder. My goal is to just get it back to the strength that it was before I got injured. And so I figure if I'm doing kind of day-to-day tasks, I'm not going to be overworking my arm, and at the same time I'm going to be strengthening it. So that's why I took the dog for the walk, kind of give me an opportunity to use that arm a little bit, pulling her back, or dealing with her with the leash. And then on Sunday, while I was dealing with the tree limbs and cutting branches and just doing kind of general maintenance, I was also using that arm a bit to help strengthen it, just like I said, for day-to-day use. It's not just my bicep that suffered because of this surgery. It's really the whole left side, my forearm, my tricep, my shoulder. All of that has been used less because of the surgery. So I just want to try to strengthen that up. My chest probably even lost some strength because I wasn't using it for things. So I kind of used the yard work as an opportunity to push it a little bit. And by the end of Sunday, I definitely had realized that I probably did too much. I don't have any like muscle soreness today necessarily, like you would if you go to like the gym. If I would have gone to the gym and done like heavy lifting or anything like that, it's not that type of muscle soreness. It's just like I feel like it's just like a fatigue. I almost feel it now just talking about it. The hike, the two big things I got out of that, my feet really killing me because I hadn't walked on uneven terrain or done any type of hard work with my feet since I had the surgery. And then my lower back also, I felt in my feet and my lower back, I felt some tightness from the hike. I have a little bit of like in the back of my head, like the whole time I did the sprint triathlon training and was doing the running and the biking and that stuff, I didn't have a lot of soreness overall. And I really attributed that to the diet. And I felt like the lack of having salt in our diet makes a difference on the recovery and just overall soreness that I had from those workouts. And it's anecdotal. It might not be the case or not. And then this weekend, I had that feast, and really on Thursday, we ate out too at the Dirt Burger. So I've had two meals that probably had a decent amount of sodium, some oil, some sugar that is now in my system. And so any soreness that I kind of felt on Sunday from the walking, I'm kind of like, is that because I had that sodium? Would I be, and I'm not that sore. It's not like like I said, it's not like I went into the gym and that kind of soreness where my muscles hurt to touch. But with my feet, it was just kind of, I know that I was making all the bones in my feet kind of twist and turn in directions that they hadn't done in a while. So that was a big part of where I think that soreness came from there. And it wasn't as bad as any of the, some of the pains I've had in my feet in the last year since starting this diet. So like I said, that's kind of in the back of my head that was why I was feeling any soreness is because I had had those meals last week. And the other thing, and that since I did that on Saturday, and there was a lot of concern in myself mentally, what, kind of Pandora's box I would be opening, or what kind of, what am I doing here? In fact, I even had uh, somebody talking to me about it and kind of just being like, man, I don't know how I feel about you doing that, because you were on such a track the one way, and I was. And I feel like it's one of those things where eventually I was going to have to do something to deviate off track, even if it was only momentarily, at some point. And so, anyways, I decided to do it, and I'm happy that I did it. And I was able to go right back into the diet afterwards. I'm not craving anything that I had there. And if I did crave anything, I do know mentally that I am going to go back this weekend, possibly, and do that again. Or I don't know what I'm going to eat this weekend, but I'm going to do another feast eating plant-based kind of talk about it kind of thing this Saturday. But, I wasn't sure what was going to happen when I did this, and I was very nervous that it was going to cause issues. And really, it didn't at all. Like, I didn't have, like I said, I was coming home from here, and the biggest thing that hit me was just that, I really have a lot of energy, and I should go out and do a hike or go spend that energy. And I really felt like it was from that food that I had. I think that it was maybe 3 or 4 hours after I did that I had my first kind of anything, and it was just a regular orange. And then I might have had some mango shortly after that. But I got right back into the diet. We ended up having leftovers, I think, on Saturday evening of the mega veggie chili that we had on Friday. Then Sunday morning, our regular oatmeal. I ended up having Ezekiel bread with peanut butter on it, and then really, I'm trying to think of, we had a new dish for dinner, which I can't think of the name of it, and it was not a winner. It was all right, and it's one of those things where sometimes you just got to sit there and eat the food and just say, you know what, it's food. There was nothing bad about it. There was no taste in it that made me want to not eat it, but there was no flavor to it that really made me want to eat it. Well, there was a sauce in it, I guess, that had like tahini in it, I think, but I don't know the recipe or the name of it off the top of my head right now. And it's not going to be one that we really recommend. So, but we did have that on Saturday. Sunday. Also having a meal like that keeps me from overeating a meal like that, because it would be very easy to have had something, that we regularly have and eaten a lot, but I didn't eat very much of it all. I had a lot of oranges this weekend. It seems like that those are starting to get back into season, and I'll probably continue to munch on those as long as they're tasting as good as they are. And then this morning, oatmeal again, and we ended up getting our miso toast with the mango pico de gallo. It is the good stuff. I'm not sure where she buys the mango pico de gallo, but it is really good. And it was talking to Carrie's parents about it, because we were laughing about like avocado toast and whether or not you've had people who have had avocado toast in the past or not, or whatever. But I had never had avocado toast before starting this diet. And it was something Carrie might have made every now and then, but it was not something that I would ever have said, oh yeah, I'll have some avocado toast, and now I really like it, and just the way everything mixes together and the flavors, and it's definitely one of my favorite snacks. And I'll probably go home and have it as a snack this evening too, depending on what we're having for our dinner tonight. And then today, yeah, I mean, I had that for breakfast and it's kind of back to my schedule as normal. I do have a bag of oranges at the office now, and so I have been eating those throughout the day. Uh, I don't know why Carrie doesn't refrigerate the oranges at home, but I put the oranges in the refrigerator here, and they're so good refrigerated. It's just like a big mouthful of orange juice, like a cold glass of orange juice when you eat them. So I would highly recommend that you refrigerate your oranges. But yeah, it's. I was worried that doing that on Saturday was going to create some sort of you know, fall off the wagon, or I can eat like that and be fine, and it hasn't. I haven't had any types of cravings for anything, or yeah, uh it's kind of, I had that meal and then it's back to the diet as normal, and that's been pretty good for me so far. Let's see what else I have. I have been listening to more of the How Not to Diet by Dr. Greger. I've been listening to it for a while now. I think I'm probably about 12 hours of playtime in, maybe not quite that far. The whole book is a total of like 23 hours. And I have about 10 hours left. So, it's great. It's a great book. I couldn't imagine sitting down and reading it though. I really like that I have it on audiobook, and the difference between this and some of the other audiobooks that I've had in the past is that when I've listened to some of the other audiobooks, if I get distracted or I miss 30 seconds of audio or I'm daydreaming or whatever, I would a lot of times rewind and listen back. And I'm really not doing that much with this. I'm just kind of letting it play through. If I miss something, I miss it. But I mean, there's 24 hours worth of content. I don't remember. I've already listened to 13 hours of it. I don't remember half of what I listened to. So me missing something isn't going to be the end of the world with listening to that book. But I am in an interesting spot. He's kind of talking about some of the foods that you can eat to help kind of increase or improve weight loss. Things like eating flaxseed, having vinegar. And then he's right now getting a little bit into what I kind of have started to really like about this, and not the, but the talking about like circadian rhythm and how eating at certain times may affect you different ways, or when you take certain medications, how it affects you. And I'm very interested in that circadian rhythm stuff because it's not anything that I've looked into much, but the more there's there's lots of trains of thought that people have about what people are supposed to eat or how we evolved or how things develop. But the one thing that, like, whether you believe we've been here for 10,000 years or we've been here for 100,000 years, that's still a lot of sunrises and a lot of sunsets. That I believe in evolution, and so I believe that evolutionarily, the fact that we have the day cycle and it's the same kind of thing every day, that would affect us physically, because our bodies, when you wake up at 8 a.m., you have certain things going on physically versus how you feel at 8 p.m. And I really am enjoying kind of studying more into this. I spent a lot of time this weekend watching a video by Milton Mills that talks about whether or not we're a herbivore or a carnivore, and how our body composition either says, whether we have more herbivore or more carnivore traits. And I really liked not just, the that he was, he pushes a plant-based diet, but like he explained a lot of things about the way animals bone structure and muscle structure is put together, that it really um I just hadn't thought of it that way. Like the average speeds of carnivores is certain, and the average speed of vulnerable herbivores is a certain thing, and then there's invulnerable herbivores. So like a gazelle is vulnerable, that like a lion would kill a gazelle, but an elephant is invulnerable in that there's nothing really that will try to attack a healthy elephant. An elephant is invulnerable. I don't know if I said that right, but an elephant is an invulnerable herbivore because there's not really any predators that attack an elephant. And all of those bone structures are different, whether it's a carnivore or a vulnerable herbivore or an invulnerable herbivore or humans, or, like we have different characteristics, and it makes sense why we have some of those characteristics based on what we eat and, stomach acid composition and just lots of stuff. So I do really think that's cool stuff to look into. And so I did spend some time kind of paying attention to that this weekend, and I really liked it. But yeah, that was kind of my weekend here, or what kind of, from Friday till now. So, and that's about time anyways. So I am going to get out of here today. I want to thank you guys for checking out my broadcast again. If you haven't already, make sure that you do subscribe to my channel. Click on that bell icon so you'll get notifications turned on, so you'll get alerted when I go live. Down below, I made my first ever short, and I don't know how it comes across or if the audio is very loud on it or not, but I had never made a short before, and so I did publish a short on the YouTube channel here. So if you get a chance to click that link and check that out or whatever, that would be funny. I would, or that'd be good. I'm thinking I might do more videos with that theme. So let me know if that's something you guys want to see. Anyways, thanks guys for checking out my video. If you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's no reason to wait. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health. Start now. Tell somebody you're dieting. Hold yourself accountable, and be confident that your body is going to keep you alive, that your body is going to get through whatever struggle that you're having, whether it's getting rid of caffeine from your diet or sugar from your diet, or if it's eliminate, your body is going to have cravings, and it's going to try to get you to eat those things. But you just have to have faith that if you're putting good food in your body, that your body is going to keep on going. So you guys all have a good evening, and I will see you next time.